Hi, this is Thenarinac with another episode of Episode Thoughts for Sailor Moon Crystal. After a bit of a longer break than usual because it is every first and third Saturday of every month, and August happened to have 5 Saturdays. But we're back with this being the first Saturday of September. And this episode is, of course, episode 5, which gives us the introduction of Sailor Jupiter, which is a pretty exciting thing because now we're only like one Sailor Guardian short of having the main 5. And from the preview for the next episode, we just have to wait until, next month. It should be the first episode of next month that we'll finally get the final Sailor Guardian introduced, which is, of course, Sailor Venus. But back to this episode. Honestly, I'm just so glad that, we actually get another new episode. I was feeling a bit of a withdrawal, having to wait an extra week this time around, but I thought it was well worth it. I will say that the animation quality for this episode seems to have taken a step up from the previous, few. So that's definitely a big plus. I'm not sure if it's because they had that extra week to work on it, or if they just had their A-team working on this episode. I guess we'll find out soon enough, or at least with the next week, or not next week's. The next episode in 2 weeks. Which is great because, I think Sailor Jupiter, she definitely has a bunch of fans, and I think, and of course, who wouldn't want to see the episode that introduced their favorite Sailor Guardian actually look pretty good. Okay, and I'm rambling already, but there actually are a lot of little changes throughout this episode from the original manga. The only there's probably a couple really big ones, but the one that kind of stood out the most to me is the fact that they actually took out a scene that was in the original manga. I guess to pretty much just kind of streamline the episode a bit, because in the manga, Usagi, she uses her transformation pen to transform herself into a groom, and then from there she transforms into Sailor Moon, while in the anime they just kind of remove that part and have her transform with Mars and Mercury. And of course the other big thing, which is kind of not surprising at this point, is the fact that, Nephrite, he does not die like he does in the manga. Instead, Sailor Jupiter, she just takes out the pretty much the mannequin that he has used his powers to possess. Of course, an interesting thing to note, though, is the fact that, while she's gearing up for the attack, is that he does recognize something familiar about this. Which, of course, I guess spoiler alert if you're not very familiar with Sailor Moon, or at least the original source, like the manga, is that the Four Kings, they actually, knew the Sailor Guardians. In fact, I believe they were all kind of paired off as an actual couple, and let's see. Yeah, I think it was Nephrite and Jupiter. I actually probably need to look that up, but I'm pretty sure it was, or at least it would make a lot of sense with that whole Nephrite kind of finding something familiar with Sailor Jupiter. So, not only that, but Nephrite, he showed up a lot earlier with the battle of him versus the Sailor Guardians. And that kind of changed that from the manga as well. I think it's definitely, starting to show that one of the biggest, overall deviations from the manga is that the Four Kings have much more of a presence in Sailor Moon Crystal than, they did in both the manga and even the well, I'm not sure if you can say that they have a bigger presence than the original anime series because, they just stuck around for a lot longer. But, uh, but no, I think it just kind of goes back to the fact that, the Four Kings, they were popular. I mean, even in the last remake, which was the live action version, they had much larger roles than they did in the original manga as well. So I think that's just a trend that's going to continue with any remake for Sailor Moon, is that they're going to have a lot more presence. Uh, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes and how they develop that, because that's definitely one way that they can actually kind of break away from the source and maybe figure out how to make another episode or two if they're really going to have all of this original, Dark Kingdom be the entire season or first season. Because, the pace they're going, they'll hit the end by what would only be the midway point for how many episodes are planned. I mean, either that or, they're changing it up and they'll go ahead and do the next story arc with Chibiusa, but that kind of goes against what they've said, because when they announced this, they did say that the first season, which would be these, I think it's like 26 or 25 episodes, would be the original Dark Kingdom arc. So it's kind of interesting, or it'll be really interesting to see how exactly they do that. But the stuff with the Four Kings, that definitely looks like that could be a way that they'll try to do it. Let's see. Oh, and I guess another noticeable absence is the fact that when they go to Rei's shrine, is the fact that we don't see her grandfather, which we do see in the manga, but they just kind of cut that out. But honestly, he had just a really brief appearance, and they definitely were. It's either they streamlined or kind of shortened certain scenes, or they actually expanded on them. When Usagi, when she goes and pretty much befriends Makoto with the whole lunch thing, that actually goes on a little longer, and which honestly I liked, because you really got to see that kind of friendship cemented with the fact that Usagi is more than happy to, bring up that she actually finds, Makoto to be quite girly and everything, and that she totally does see past this exterior that everyone else seems to get, caught up on with Makoto, which, really drags her down. So it really feels like it really is a very important thing to Makoto to have someone like Usagi who can do that, and that way, she's not alone, and the fact that she has someone she can actually talk to, because nobody else is doing that. Let's see. Oh, okay. There was something else cut, which I don't really count as being too major, because this chapter, in the manga, it starts with the dream sequence with her kind of dreaming about being Princess Serenity, but they kind of dropped it in this, and I don't feel like it's much of an exclusion because we've seen this scene in other episodes. So if anything, that's just something that's been shuffled to appear earlier, and they just kind of cut it out of this, which is fine, because this episode does feel like, it really packed everything in there, which I guess might be part of the reason why they went ahead and dropped that whole transformation into a groom scene, was the fact that they just really couldn't fit it in with everything else, or not well enough. Let's see. As I think that's about all that's kind of popping up. I mean, I do like the fact that we are getting Rei a little bit more established as well, because, she does bring up the fact that, she doesn't trust men, and she feels like there's really not enough time to, be worrying about them or, crying over them, which is nice, because we we really haven't seen much of her more, I guess, harsher attitude. It's not like it's a major part, but you know, she can be a little, yeah, a little harsh from times, and definitely with the whole like trust issue with men, which you know is explored in the manga in a side story, which I still do hope we get to see animated at some point. Uh, but we shall see. But it's nice to see that because it seems like a lot of that, I don't know, just hasn't been shown so much in Crystal so far. So it's nice to start seeing that surface, to see that, you know, they're not going to gloss over that. Um, and yeah, I think that's about it right now. Of course, with the next episode, we get the focus on Tuxedo Mask and Usagi, and I look forward to that, especially since it does get us one step further to, you know, getting to my favorite Sailor Guardian, Sailor Venus, her actually showing up, even though, you know, she has been having cameos, or sort of cameos, with the whole Sailor V thing, and the Sailor V game. But, you know, maybe they may try to, like, put her in somehow into the next episode. Probably not, but still, I can dream, okay? I've been waiting pretty long for her to show up, so I think I'm allowed to dream at least. And I think with that, I'll go ahead and wrap up. Thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe to my channel, leave a like or comment, and until next time, bye!